Money is back into the pockets of American households, and $1 billion in tax relief is expected to be approved to further assist families and seniors. Eligible households can receive as much as $1,000 in a few months. Plus, there is currently a Massachusetts tax relief plan that can provide up to $440 for each child residing in the state. The long-awaited proposal includes the reform of the child tax credit and the over-the-top of a dozen proposals. The Massachusetts Senate President and House Speaker have said that the credit is also dependent for disabled adults and seniors. The tax credit for the three groups currently is $180 and will go up to $310 this year, then $440 in 2024. Lawmakers tout the bill as the most generous child and dependent care credit in the country. The proposal includes more than a dozen specific tax proposals. This is increasing the child independent tax credit as well from $180 to $330 per child. Now, lawmakers have said the increased child tax credit will be very helpful, and Utah families can receive $1,000 for their children beginning January 2024, after the state first enacted its first child tax credit. Utah was one of 3 states that created new child tax credits, and Utah offers a non-refundable child tax credit as well, which allows taxpayers to lower their tax liability to zero, but not below zero. Refundable tax credits allow taxpayers to lower the tax liability but still receive a refund. The governor has also signed a credit on March 22nd to actually give people money. Utah people will start receiving $1,000 per dependent. Utah residents can receive the money through their income tax credit, a different program that the governor expanded. Even senior citizens living in St. Louis County have a tax freeze on their property taxes starting next year. Council city members actually voted to approve the freeze this evening, and with certain conditions attached to the bill. The council city members said that a meeting would actually help people a lot, and some of those compromises included $500,000 cap, raising the age of eligible seniors to 67, and adding a sunset clause to the bill, meaning the council can decide to change the bill at any point. But not everyone agrees with the passing of the bill. Councilwomen have actually brought up a concern during the meeting, and that's how the bill will affect schools and first responders. Also, a bipartisan group of state lawmakers are launching an effort to freeze those taxes for older Ohio people. It's called a 70 under 70 plan. It would freeze the property tax at the current levels for people more than 70 years old and incomes less than $70,000. And while that doesn't translate to a 30 to 40% increase in property taxes, some people are going to see significant increases in their bills. So hopefully people can get the stimulus they need.
The number of diverse staffers has increased, reaching the highest level since we launched our survey, and almost certainly the highest level ever. Certainly the highest level in our conference's history. Our survey also shows that more African Americans work for Senate Democratic offices than ever, and in fact that's also true for Latinos, Middle Eastern and North Africans, and Asian American Pacific Islanders. Additionally, more staffers identify as part of the LGBTQ community since we first asked that question starting in 2019.
He called for a number of changes to tax policy in the state of the Union address, including significantly raising the levy on stock, buybacks, and imposing a billionaire minimum tax. But the shout-out to the expanded child tax credit is more immediately significantly for the average American family than a tax on billionaires. The expanded child tax credit was back in 2021. It helped a lot of people out and to help families with Americans struggling financially, while they provided stimulus for a long time. And the maximum benefit of the credit was increased from $2,000 to $3,000 in 2021. That's for people 6 to 17 years old. And half of the credit was given in advance, plus in monthly payments to the families to help others throughout the year, and the other half was given as part of a household's tax refund. The household with pretty much no or low income was able to receive it for the first time. And though it can take years for the policy to have the tangible effects, the impact of the credit was pretty much very noticeable very fast. And so I believe it's pretty much right for Joe Biden to send out another one. Don't you guys agree? Parents reported using the advance payments for household essentials like groceries, clothing, schools, and utilities. And despite worries from conservatives, researchers found no evidence that the policy discouraged people from going back to work. Instead, it probably motivated people to get back to work. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, everybody, said the success of the 2021 expansion showed us that child poverty rates are a policy choice, not inevitable. And Congress failed to renew the expansion in 2021, reverting the credit back to its former, less generous iteration. It's one of the reasons that families could see smaller tax refunds this year when they file their returns, because some tax credits have already implemented their own version of a child tax credit last year to make up for the difference. Still, without this expansion, everybody, millions of people fell back into poverty at the beginning of last year. It made many people broke, and it hurt so many households. But folks, here's a solution to this. One of the biggest sticking points is whether or not the expanded child tax credit has a work requirement attached to it. Because if it does, that could be beneficial to the ones that need it the most, and the ones that need stimulus fast. Opponents believe there should be some sort of work requirement, but everybody, here's what I'm saying about this. A ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, a ton of news about stimulus payments, a ton of news is here for you on stimulus checks. Joe Biden can do something about this. First of all, let's get into the most important news. It's that Social Security benefits, no matter what, play a major role for your retirement and for the older Americans especially. Now, there could be big changes on the horizon. Social Security is facing a shortfall. A shortfall that could be catastrophic, that is. The program is paying out more in benefits than it's receiving from taxes. If lawmakers don't find a solution soon, things could get nasty. There are several proposals on the table. Social Security benefits are funded primarily through payroll taxes. Workers pay into the program now, and the most of the money is paid out to the retirees. So let's not forget about that right now, though. These taxes are not even enough to pay out benefits in full. Just to cover Social Security, it has been dipping into its trust funds.
We'll have to start thinking about, at least, the looming debt limit deadline. Democrats' message: political brinksmanship could drive up costs for ordinary households. A recent analysis by the center-left think tank Third Way estimated that an actual default
Back Better plan, passed by House Democrats last year. It's likely to center around measures to lower prescription prices and combat climate change, while also including other energy security programs sought by Manchin. It's also likely to include some tax increases that will be used to pay for new programs and reduce the deficit. Lawmakers also insist that for the new bill, including a new relief payment for Americans. Negotiations are also on health insurance. If you get your health insurance through the government health insurance marketplace, you may want to brace for higher premiums next year. Unless Congress takes action, everybody, enhanced premium subsidies that have been in place for 2 years will disappear after this year, and this will cause definitely some disruptions. Cynthia Cox, a vice president at the Kaiser Family Foundation and director of its Affordable Care Act program, told CNBC News that the default is that the expanded subsidies will expire at the end of the year. On average, premiums will go up more than 50%, but for some, it will be a lot more. Most enrollees, which include the self-employed and workers with no job health insurance, receive subsidies, which reduce what they pay in premiums. Some people also qualify for help with cost sharing, such as deductibles and copays on certain plans, depending on their income. Before the temporary changes to the calculation for subsidy eligibility, the aid was generally only available to households with income from 100% to 400% of the federal poverty level. The American Rescue Plan, which was signed into law in mid-March, removed the income cap and the amount that anyone pays for premiums during the time, it limited to 8.5% of their income as calculated by the exchange. An economist